Okay, so I will just continue with whatever we left over from the previous, like talking about. So in the previous one, we just create a file, and I did do a little bit update over there. So for the beginner, when you write in your code and the things you want to do, there are two things very counterintuitive. It's for the beginner, they will not do that. So the first thing they will not do is writing the function. So they typically, especially when they write in the Python, they have the logic from the beginning all the way to the end. They prefer to write things from the beginning all the way to the end. That's very common. Even I write in the code, that's the way how I'm gonna write it. However, if you try to write some complicated project, and if you write in your code from all the way beginning to the end, and you never use a function, you will start to realize I'm writing the exact piece of the code in this place, in another place, and additional place. It's just exactly the same type of code. And at that moment, you start to realize probably I need to write in one function, okay, and post it in one location. And then in different places, I just need to call these functions. That's enough. I don't really bother to write the exact same code again. So the same thing here. When you try to write in the things as I just mentioned over here, it's since I'm doing a lot for this project, I start to get the experience and I realize any type of things you want to write, you better to write everything with a function, and the function only achieve one thing. And if you already know in the database design or any other things, if you learn from the class, the principle of that is one thing each time. As long as you try to talk about two different things in one places, then you will have very hard time to do the modification. You insert, update, delete, whatever the things you do later on, you will always cause the trouble. It's the same thing over here. So that's the things, better you get used to writing the function, but because I have no idea what's the background of you come with very different background. Some of you are not even writing your first code yet. So writing the function probably do not make any sense to you. But when you try to working on more and more complicated project, you will start to get used to, oh, I need to use function, okay? And start to think about each time when you're writing anything, you just one component. Each function only do one thing. You don't do more than one thing. That's one way. And then another thing is when you start to try to use the function, and then how you're gonna organize, that's another issue. There is no, how to say, optimal way, or there is no standards to say how you're gonna organize your function. If you think about the function, you can think about it's like the Word file you created, okay? So if you start to use the computer, your task is very simple. You probably just put all the document in one folder. Let's say every system create a document folder, you just put it there. You don't really have too much document to write, so you put everything over there, it's fine. But when you study here, when you have different courses, you have downloaded different course material, and the course do a lot of different projects, you better each course create their own folder, okay? And then that's probably easier for you to do that for your study purpose. And when you create this one, if it's for the school club activity, you probably need to create another folder. This folder needs to have a hierarchy depending on how complicated kind of task you are using for your own computer. So if you just doing very simple task, it's just like you are the, how to say, in the kindergarten start to use computer. You don't really need to have too much complicated. You have the Chromebook, everything is in my document. You don't even create more than 3 documents, okay? So you don't really need to have so complicated. But when you go to the college, at least when you take different courses, you need to have the folder for each of the course. Make sure I can locate the file with this folder I'm interested in. But when you start to have your club activity, you have your internship, you have all the other things coming here, then your folder will become more and more complicated. Okay, so same thing here. When you're doing that, and in the past, I just say API, I create a folder. That's the function I'm going to put it there. So I will have the two common folder. It's one, it's I just do the data when I collecting data, because right now I'm collecting data. But there's another common processing, like how to split the string, how to generate the non-value. That's almost you're going to use everywhere, or you show some error message. You just have a parallel and send the email or send the text message. That's almost every project. You probably need to communicate with the person. That's a common thing category you're going to go into. And if that's the same, then you're going to split into this folder and then into the data, depending on whether you have the database, you have the web, all the things. And in the previous project, I actually just had the XML.py. So when I created this one, I thought I just need to extract the information from XML. So I don't really need to create too much complicated folder for that. But there's one student asking me like, how about the information you need to log into the system to get the source code? So if that's the direction you want to go, so right now, I don't know how the complicated the project would be, but apparently they have very different direction could go. And I realized even you just getting the source code of the XML, it could be a very complicated one. So that's why I create another layer. Say, okay, I created the folder XML. I'm not just using XML.Python anymore because I feel like I'm jacking too much of the function into this file. And it's not reliable for me to handle the complicated courses in the future. And then I created the XML folder. Say any information I try to dealing with XML, I have additional file I created called the source code or PY. So I create the Python file. This one right now, I'm just getting this one function here, just directly getting the source code from any public available kind of website you're gonna have. But when you design this one, and I probably design for the future because there's some of the financial information you maybe need to pay for it. And there's some special login over there. Or if you have some, how to say, open some like a financial account to do the platform trading, okay? And there's some additional information you maybe get from Charles Schwab or Robinhood or etc. In that kind of case, I maybe needs to have very complicated function to go into their source code. So that's how I change my folder to make it a little bit complicated. I'm not starting with XML.py. I actually, in the XML, I created the folder. How to get the source code by itself, it could be a complicated function already, okay? But how can you design this one? The analogy of this one is when you build the house, you need to have the foundation, okay? How solid the foundation will be. If you just have a normal single house, kind of residential of the things, you need to have some solid foundation, but you don't need to be so crazy. But when you try to build, let's say 100 like a story of like the skyscraper, then the foundation you create for building like a single family house, definitely not enough, okay? Because it's not solid, not enough. Then you need to really spend way more time to build the foundation of it. So now the things become the trade-off. If you wanted to create a hierarchy to face the future needs, say, if this project will go insane, it's very large, and I'm gonna create a new company based on that and generate several trillion of the revenue, then you really need to have very large foundation. You need to design your project very flexible. Then you spend a lot of time to make the hierarchy to meet all the future needs. But if you think about that's just some side project, I want to get some working experience. Okay, I'm doing something solid, but it's not that crazy. Then there's always some level of flexibility. You will stop. So I don't really know. Maybe when you log in the website, for example, when you go Amazon, they also have their own special code to prevent you to crawl the information, get the product information from their website. So you need to have this crawling technique to anti this kind of crawling technique to actually get the information you're gonna have. So if that's the direction you're gonna go, then apparently how to get the source code can be very complicated. Okay, but so that's depending on what's the goal and the layout will be. Still depending on where they are. This is a cost project. I don't think I will go that crazy. Okay, and when you do that, I think most of you doing the project is just landing a job. It's not like create a really company to compete with Vanguard or Charles Schwab, these kinds of financial kind of company, right? So if that's not the direction you would go, I think I probably start with this folder right now over there. But who knows? Maybe in the future, starting from this project, they're starting to have someone build on this one, and they wanted to have more enriched function or the other things built upon, then maybe they're gonna redesign the structure. That's things later on. But right now, I guess I just start from here. That's probably enough. So over here, when you get the information from this, first I get the HTML source code. But when I get the HTML source code, and the thing is, I need to download all the financial statement. Before I download the financial statement, I need to get the HTML link, right? So I was starting from the things what we left. So the two things is like the first, create a function. The second thing, how to create a hierarchy for this function. It's just an analogy to how complicated the task would be when you create a folder to save your file. It's the same story. It's only when you have very complicated project to do, then you will have more complicated hierarchy structure over there. But that's a hierarchy structure right now we're going to define. And then the next thing is I will just continue to say how to get URL from a web extract URL from a website, and I added the Python. So Google has this kind of hyperlink recommend to you, and I just say that's different place you're gonna go, but I don't really remember what's the source code. I think that's the one for the last class we're gonna have, right? Okay, so they have the beautiful soup 4, and I believe that's the things they're gonna get. Okay, so the first, how to get the source code, that's a part we're gonna have. And it looks like they try to do another thing to pass the file. And so to me, I don't want to mess up with, it's still depending on the structure where you're gonna have. Over there, for the HTML, I prefer to have one file to be in charge of how to get the source code, because I realize getting the source code can be very complicated. And then another file, I will independent from that is how to parse the file. So I will create a Python file called a parser. It's like how to extract the information from the HTML page, what we are interested in. So I will create a folder like this. And for you, you probably don't even come up with this kind of hierarchy structure at all. You probably just writing the code, looks like the source code, look like here. You just have one line within the file to grab everything. Okay, that's the beginner you're gonna do. But since I already passed the beginner stage, I just give you the idea how I'm gonna lay out all the things in different function and I'm gonna calling them. And then over here, looks like they are creating a puzzle for the beautiful soup that they're gonna have. So the first thing is, looks like they're gonna import the package. So within this file, I will have this one to import. And when I import here, I can see there's a red light over there. And if you're already working on this, have the experience on it, then you already know how to do that. But when you start to run this one, they will say there's no module called the BS4. Okay, and it's depending on where you're gonna go. So depending on your knowledge tree, that's the things I'm talking about. A lot of people, they start to try to learn these kinds of project-based learning methods. They just give up because they just have so many things they don't know. And they will see all the problem all over the place. But the things I'm telling you is chop a large problem into smaller one and do it one by one. And you're supposed to have all the problem here. If you don't see any problem, then your problem probably is too easy. Okay, you are not tackling the things, go to the limitation you have. And that's why I always emphasize you need to have the tolerance of the negative feeling from that. It's just like if you want to train your muscle, you need to have the tolerance to have the hard breathing and have the pressure on your muscle there. And when you're doing this to find the job in the coding area, go into the AI field, then having some pressure on your brain muscle, there's no way you can get around from it. You need to challenge something and you find the error and try to search and get an error. So over there, the typical thing is, as long as you have the error, the first thing you're going to try to do is just searching exactly the same things on Google and see what are they going to do. You can see that's a lot of kind of web, because your mistake is not unique. A lot of people just go through that procedure already. Okay, there are plenty of this information you can find online. As long as you are willing to sitting down and watch this one by one, you can find a solution. And there's no single solution for that. And then they were talking about, okay, when I'm working on this one, and they say there's no module named BS4. So you can see they have different solution over there. Someone just talking about you need to use apt install of this one, okay? And if you already know how to install the package in the Python, then you will know where you're gonna type it over here. But if you don't really know, you probably need to search through and see where are you gonna type in the command. Get it. Okay, so that's the things you need to dive into. But since it's already to me, I just say an analogy to you because I don't really know your own knowledge tree there and what's the missing kind of components there. Everyone has their own unique tree. And then that's why this project learning is very personalized. So you just have your own type of mistake. You're gonna tackling by your own. So if you already get one way you can go is this terminal, go over here. You can type in here for this code, or if you further say, how can I update the package in PyCharm? They have all of different ways. So you can actually go over here to look at the setting. And for your project, for this project interpreter, over there, they are loading the package you currently have. The beautiful soup is not one of them. You can also add a class over there. So there are plenty of the different way for you to add. Okay, so I probably just add it over there. Let me see what's this I think it's BS4. So over there, you can see they have the package called the BS4. I just want to make sure. Is this one really the one we're gonna have? BS4. I think they call it Beautiful Soup for. Just okay. I have no idea. I guess it should be the package like this one, because this is the version 4.12. And if I just use another one, just wait a minute. If I just directly type in the BS4, I'm probably gonna install the package over there. Because Beautiful Soup is very commonly used. And I believe this version has been updated for a very long time, many times. But when I search the package BS4, and the current version is 0.01, looks like they only have the first version. Okay, I guess it's not. Looks like they also Beautiful Soup. Huh. It's a dummy package. Okay, that's a dummy package for that, so it's the same thing. Okay, so no matter which one, BS4 or Beautiful Soup 4, I think it's the same thing. And then when I have the installation, let me see whether. So now you can see there is no error message sitting here. That means, okay, you start to have some function that's ready for you to use. And then the first thing over there is they're gonna build a beautiful soup based on the HTML kind of things you're gonna have. Okay, so you're gonna build, I will define a function, say define maybe the build soup structure. And the things is the HT, or I should say XML. Because over there probably it's the HTML source code. And then when I have this one, what I'm gonna return is this beautiful soup HTML source code and use HTML. Also, there. That's kind of function I'm gonna use. But another thing is, depending on where you are, but it's also depending on the background of you. I typically don't really like the syntax from this package to import this function, because over here you call the Beautiful Soup, you sort it get confused between the existing building function, or is the building function actually imported from the package. It's not easy for the others to read your code. And for me, I personally will use just to import the package. And if I need to use the function inside of the package, I will use BS4 dot. Using this one, because over there, I know this Beautiful Soup is from this package. So that's some slide update. So I will just give you the syntax or the logical reasoning I'm doing. So they are jumping around. But when you try to do your own, you probably not even start creating your own file. Okay, you will have a lot of other things to do. But I just create these two between these two files, and then try to create another things on the top of that to see how this gonna working on. So when I build this package, I will have a test function there. This one do not really do any special thing. So I will just import the API, the data, the web, the XML, and the source code as ADWXSC. And that's the two functions I will call over there, the data, the web XML, and the parcel over there as ADWXP. So, and I actually break the source code from one page into several minor functions. And that's the things you're gonna do that later on. So the first thing is I need to generate the source code. So as you can see, so the HTML source code gonna be equal to ADSC and get HTML source code. So where this would be, I probably just directly use the website of this project I want to go. So let's see. I will just use this website. So I generate source code from here, from this website. And then the second thing is I will create a soup structure. So I will use ADWXP dot build the soup structure based on the HTML source code. So that's the soup structure I'm getting from there. After I getting the soup structure, then all the remaining things is I have the URL. I'm getting the URL. That's the code I'm getting from here. Let's see. I will find all this A and then do the print. So the soup is find all. So here is the soup structure and the link gets. And why they are defining URL? They are not using that. But anyway, so that's the way I translate this one into the different function I will have. Let's see whether they actually get the HTML I'm interested in. So right now, when I just right click and click run, so you can see here, they're generating a lot of URL they're gonna have. And let's see what's the URL on this website. So they have the structured data, but if you're looking at all the things I'm interested in is actually this URL file, right? So it looks like they are actually generating the things, but they are not generating because there's just too many URL on this website. Then the next step is I'm probably gonna return this one. So this is not complete. So the first thing over there is a relative text. And I need to actually use the things coming from here, from this website, okay? And adjacent with the information over here to create the actual full length of it. But that's another different function I need to have. But at least right now, I'm capable of generating the URL I'm interested in, okay? So when I'm doing that, and then that's the function they're gonna get. And so still the things when you try to do that, that's your first step, getting all the URL. So when you have this, I need to go back to the parcel. This one is getting the beautiful soup structure here. And then another one is get all the URL from this beautiful soup structure. So I need to have the soup structure file inside. And what I'm gonna do is I will just copy. So from all the link in the superstructure over there. This one is just a print what they find. And then I will find the URL else. Its URL is it's a list. And whatever they're gonna have, I will just have this dot append whatever they're gonna get. And then once they have it, I will return this URL. So when I try to write in my function, look like this one, that means as long as I start building a beautiful superstructure over there, and with any website I create, okay, I can just directly get in all the URL and put that into this like a list file. So when I write in my code, it becomes way simpler over there. Then the URL else over there is, I think it's in the parcel. So it's adwxp.get all the URL based on the beautiful superstructure you just passed on. And once you have this one, all I need to have is I just print this URL, this list data to see whether they have the same thing over here. So you can see all this URL information is become the string go directly inside. And if I just go move around, that's just too much of it. So you can see all these financial websites, this financial statement, the URL link is already there. And then when you try to break all your large function into the smaller piece coming here, what's the benefit of that? Then this one is getting the URL from this SEC website, right? So what if I want to get it from the Yahoo Finance? Same thing. All I need to change is change here to finance.yahoo.com. And the rest of the things, I don't even need to have it. So I just need to pass a different URL, okay? And then just let me try. When I'm doing this one, this gonna be for the Yahoo? You can see I'm getting the HTML from the Yahoo Finance. That's whatever they're gonna get. And over there, because they are using the print function, it's not easy to looking at. I can just use a debug function for me to tracking down all this list. And they say essentially they have like a 92 different list. And that's all the different HTML, okay, gonna be within this website. Is that true? Let's just check to see whether they find all this information. So I will have the finance.yahoo.com. Okay, and let me just try to see its source code. So typically the source code will start with like you kind of need to really know. So you can see the hyperlink 3wyahoo.com. And that's the first one you are getting here. Okay. And if I just try to search another one, I don't know where they are. And then that's HTML mail yahoo.com. That's the second one we're gonna have. If you're looking at the syntax, they are 96. And if you're looking here over here, there is 92. Looks like there's some missing over there. But mainly you can see that's already the function. I just write down. That's not even for this financial statement website. It's when I lay down all these structure, looks like this one. Any web page, as long as I want to get the URL, I can just call the function. That's going to be way much easier for me to do. Okay, and then once you have all this, and when you have this parsing function, and in the beginning you are getting the source code, probably you don't really need to. I probably still starting with the HTML source code, getting from here, and I don't want to combine these kind of these two things together to make it too complicated. But say right now, I just finished two very simple functions here, and we are not even get started, okay? And when you generate this one, that's a lot of other things you want to know, because you need to do a screen to have the string match, to get the string you are interested in. And because you have the relative path, you need to have the adjacency to the root domain name to have the full length of the source code you really need. Even you generate with HTML, you need to download the zip file, you need to do the extraction and analyze data inside. That's a long way to go. But you know there's a lot of things ahead of you, but why should you worry about it? You just know I can just do that step by step, okay? So you cannot think about unfinished things like a snake to swallow the things altogether and digest the data all. It's not the way how it's gonna work. You need to work like an ant to bite a smaller piece by a smaller piece, and eventually you will digest anything. But over there you can see we are working on a huge project. But why should you worry about all the little functions sitting there? You don't even bother to. You always zoom in to zoom down, and over there, at least I finished a very two easy things. Is any website, probably Amazon, I'm not exactly sure. Probably Amazon is anti-crawling you're gonna have. Let me just try. Maybe Amazon is not working exactly. Let me just try to do that again. So looks like if you try to do that in Amazon, that's the only streaming you are getting. Okay, because Amazon do have the anti-crawling mechanism to know whether you're actually crawling from the robot or it's a human doing that. So you can see that some websites not always get the things you want. But when you write in your code, you will see, okay, that's probably some special scenario I detected about. That's the things you, depending on whether the information is really coming from this resource. But for this project, I just mentioned, we just crawl information from the SEC website. They don't really have the anti-crawling mechanism. The source code we generate right now is already working there. But it's fine. I just leave it. But if you want to make your crawling kind of algorithm, make it suitable for all different scenarios, you do have a special need on different scenario, then you need to write in the function to enrich it. So still, as I just say, computer can do a lot of things, but you don't need to do all of it. You only need to write in your code to achieve the function you want to achieve. As long as they can achieve the function you want to achieve, you don't really need to go any further. Okay, because in the entire world, there are so many meaningful things for you to do. You cannot do all of it. You can only do the things you're interested in, and then niche down the scope where you're gonna go and just stop over there. Okay, so today I'm probably gonna stop over there. I'll just give you the entire idea of all the things, and the rest of the things, as you can see, it's not I teach, because there's no way I can teach you everything. Even I'm doing that, I also look at the source code online. And the more important thing is you working on that and get an error message, have trial and error, search different solution. If you still cannot go through, then talk to me, okay? I will help you. But still the main thing is on your part. If you never try all different things, you are never even making the error, it's just like an analogy I say as a baby. You need to grab your own spoon. Although it's make very messy, but that's how the way you make yourself independent. Okay, you can't just lay down there for the instructor to feed you with the milk, nice and clean. But no matter how old you are, it's giant baby, and the giant baby cannot find the job in those kind of competitive job market. Okay, so if you really want to go into this kind of coding area, that's gonna be the direction you're gonna go through anyway. You will see that since you have a huge lagging behind, but I just say the better use of that is not only just use 1 hour in the project of there I'm talking about, is you really spend 1 hour every day, and then doing every month, every week of that time, you have your own problem, come talk to me. And I will helping you to find the solution to solve your problem. But you need to be motivated on your own part. You will be willing to challenging the things. You will be willing to making the mistake, and you will be willing to suffer all these kind of error and all different difficulties we're gonna have, and tracking down the knowledge tree that's missing from you. And that's, as long as you get used to these kind of learning methods, then sky gonna be your limit. Okay, then you have so many information sitting there. You are literally capable of doing anything as long as you have the time spent on. But if you never learn how to learn in this kind of strategy of learning, then you always rely on the other person to teach you. You always limit yourself. It's very small scope. You cannot get out of it. Okay, so that's pretty much the demo. I'm probably gonna stop over there, and then the rest of things gonna be rely on you. And then starting from the next week, what I'm gonna do is, if you working on the project, if you like work on this project, you can working on this project. If you like to work on your own project, I will be there to help you working on your own project. Okay, it doesn't matter, as long as you have something to do and you have the trial and error, and I'm helping you to do that. I don't like the question, say, Professor Duan, the source code is look like this. I check the website, it's not working. I have no idea how to do. I don't like the question look like this one. I like the question is, I have tried the source code to look like this one. I have some error. I check the error message. They have the different solution, and I try all the different solution. And I have make some movement over there, but still get clock in the between. And that's something I really cannot pass through. That's the question. Give me the idea, like you really think about all the things, you search all different resources. You try your best to move. They are gonna help you. If you just stop for any tiny mistake, for example, you just say there is a package you import, they have some error there, say, oh, it's not working through, the algorithm not giving me any results, then I cannot just go. I just say, okay, how help me to do this one? This is not helping you at all, because through this way, you essentially it's the same as the lecture-based learning. Okay, so for the project-based learning, I really need to see your efforts. Say I try all these things and I still get stuck there. Maybe there are some just tiny things you are not paying attention to. Then I will helping you to pass through. But if you just gave up for any type of mistake, you don't even search the error message, you don't even find any alternative solution, then that's no way you can actually move forward. Okay, and as long as you go through enough of this trial and error, you will know how to really do that by your own. And literally, you don't really need any professor anymore. It's just the time. As long as you have time, you move forward, you will conquer your own problem. Okay, so yeah, that's just for today's kind of lecture. Okay, and you're free to go. And any other question you want to ask, just ask me. And for this one, I will just for this project, I will just do some updates. And to the newest like code. Okay, and if you want to get the latest source code of the version, after I do the updates, you will find in the GitHub with the same link over there. Okay, but as you can see, you can all create your own different branch to analyze all different things or whatever the things you would like to work on. Okay, so that's just for today's class, and you're free to go.
So both your courses are 2017.